It's a little before 9:30 on Sunday. It's actually 8:30 because of daylight savings time. Ooh, hair's going a little crazy this morning. It's going to be a cold day, high in the mid-upper 40s. Low is going to be around freezing. Got a lot of plans for friends not foes today that I think I'll be able to get a good chunk done. In the evening, I'm going to be on a Zoom call with a bunch of Crossman alumni to go over some music for the Crossman 50th anniversary alumni performance that I'm going to be part of this August. So it's going to be a good work day and a good variety day. Also, grabbed a couple of hard-boiled eggs on my way out to walk to the studio. I really love eggs. So I'm going to go actually back to one of the original ideas I had with the opening line, which I think is going to need one more phrase or two more phrases before I bring in the bass and the swarms. Something that might actually help, because part of what I feel is distracting aside from the texture is the increased tonal vocabulary. So what I may do is still keep the 5/8 hemiola, but do it with less pitches, do it with just the D pitch and add to that, or do it with the melody pitches as opposed to trying to harmonize it. They gave me 2 brownies with my lunch today. They must have had extra. This looks really amazing to me right now since I didn't really have a great amount of vegetables yesterday at all. So looking forward to having that. Even the sweet potato thing. Guess I didn't want those sweet potatoes after all. Oh well. I feel like somebody was watching too much Stranger Things on this one. I worked pretty straight for the last 6-ish or so hours now. The first part of this was in live, getting this whole sequence to happen in a way that I wanted to, which included adding in the first part of the bass section, finding the right sound for the crunchy bass that I ended up finding, which I'm not 100% convinced that sound is what I want yet, but it functions for right now. I think I need to finish the large structure first. After I did this for about 3.5 to 4 hours, I switched over to Reaper and started to mess with how the live audio import, which is this section right here, interacted with the bee and the swarm sounds. And this needs a lot of refinement. There is some stuff in here I'm not quite so happy with anymore in how it associates with the pitches, but there's other stuff that I'm very happy with. I'll play a sample of this here so you have an idea. And I guess to give you an idea of what that sounds like over on the live side. Originally, my idea was that all of this was going to be soundscapey, but I didn't really intend for it to be so crunchy. I still think that it follows the mission of Sonic Class, where the first movement, Fast-Paced World, is about meditating on the dangerous sonic landscape. The second movement now is becoming less about meditation and peacefulness and more about exuberance and joy. So I think that this will provide a good contrast to the first movement and also the third movement. which at least in my mind is going to return a little bit more in character to what happens in the first movement. I think I'm trying to follow an overall structure of slow, fast, or sparse, dense, dense. Just got out of dinner. It's really cold out. Apparently, tonight is the Oscars. I did not know such a thing because it's not something I pay attention to. So there's a viewing party for a bunch of the residents, but I had already scheduled to do some drumming with a bunch of my Crossman alumni. Kind of a shame because it'd be nice to hang out with the fellows, but I've also been doing a lot of hanging out, and I don't feel any worse for not watching the Oscars, I guess. I don't think I've ever watched the Oscars in my life before. Oh yeah, dinner was salad, as always, and then pizzas. There was a homemade cheese pizza and barbecue chicken pizza, and they were pretty good. My piano is blinking. I wonder what that means. Hope it doesn't explode. It's a little before 11 p.m. The call with the Crossman tenors was about an hour, so it cut into my productivity, but it was still a good time. I'm in a place right now where creatively I'm really enjoying just going in and seeing what's there now that I know more about how to actually get live to do what I wanted to do. So this has been pretty fun. I also think it's pretty interesting if I take this section right here. Actually, let's go in a little bit here. That you can really hear how I've taken the B sounds and harmonized them with what's going on with the synthesized stuff. If you take the B stuff just by itself here and do that without the melodic stuff, it's really different. There's a part of me that wonders if there's a way to exploit that a little bit more and make the musical implication behind what's happening with the Bs revealed later as opposed to the reverse. That would be pretty interesting, but that would really change the character of the way that I've built the piece so far. Where I think I'm struggling the most is making sure that I can have the interest from the synthesized stuff and the interest from the actual B sounds have equal weight. I want them to be harmonious with each other and not in conflict with each other. And I think that in some of this, I'm actually pulling that off pretty well. But it's happening in some of it and not in all of it. Monday morning, about 9:30 a.m. Cold morning, while I'm wearing layers and looking like some sort of professional poker player. At some point, I am going to have to take a break to do some more administrative things, finish some applications, maybe start my taxes, handle some Niente Forte stuff, because there's a concert coming up in a couple of weeks. I need to start doing marketing for all that. But today, I want to keep pushing forward. This studio, I always pass by when I have to go to the bathroom. And this is where Anne was. And then where Shannon was, there's already been 2 people through here while I've been here. And there's probably going to be another one today. So last night, as I was walking back from the studio to call it a night, I ran through and figured out in my head how I wanted to deal with this issue of the B sounds not really standing on their own because it needed support from the melodic stuff. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to delay the entrance of this and introduce the pitch material in the B sounds first. Maybe support it with a less dense version of this kalimba track just to give it a handhold. But then if I can establish the notes of the B stuff more concretely against the D ostinato, then having the more dense kalimba stuff happen after will help to convey the B's pitch structure as being important. got that shrimp salad today. Pretty excited about it. It's about 1:15. I decided that the weather, even though it's only in the lower 50s right now, it's going to warm up to be in the upper 50s, and I needed to get out of the hut and to be outside. So I'm going to do what I did before, even though it's windy and still a little cold, to work outside. I'm in the same gazebo area, but on the other side than where I was the other day, because that side is currently shaded and this side still has some sun. I've been out here for a couple of hours and did a bunch of work on the live side, and now I'm ready to take the stuff that I've done and throw it in on the Reaper side. I still think that this isn't the most efficient. I bet that there's a way for me to do all of this in live, and I'm just not familiar enough with live to be able to do what I want all in live. Some birds around my window. Ooh, he's about to go into the sun. Go into the sun. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed the white paint marks on the ground, which I think is some plans. The other day, Kevin was here with somebody else, and they had a tape measure to measure out something, and I guess that's what they did to measure out. I wonder if they're planning on expanding out that large barn thing out here, or maybe making a extended garden or something. Next time I see him, I'll ask him. I think these birds are just standing stock still for the freight train. I can't really tell, but they haven't moved at all. Not even their heads. Now they're moving around a little bit, moving their heads. I can still hear the freight train in the background. Yeah. There's some movement. Can't tell if the freight train stopped though, because my heating unit came on. But we'll assume that the freight train has passed, because now they're both chilling and going back to going for grubs. It's about 7:30. I'm in super work mode right now, so I'm going back to the studio to do some work. Dinner tonight was hamburger stroganoff and a mushroom stroganoff. Oh, and there was salad, of course. A wilted spinach that was really tasty. There was something else. Oh, like a lima bean side. Primarily a lima bean, but it also had corn and other things. So the first 5.5 minutes of Friends Not Foes I've been listening to since the changes, and I found that the mix, and this shouldn't be a surprise, but the mix is very different when I'm listening to it in various different forms. I don't want to overly mess with the mix right now, because there's still going to be a bunch of changes, but I just need to be very conscious of how to make sure that I'm dialing certain things in a way that doesn't overblow the lows and mask things that are important. I also got an email from Licity, who reached out to give feedback about the two scenes. I skimmed it, and for the most part she liked it. There were just some tweaks, but I'm going to read it in more detail, and then maybe spend a little bit of time tonight or tomorrow morning to take a look at those and see what can be done with that. It's a little before 11:30, and I'm going to call it a night here. A lot of what I did today was to add just a little bit of material time-wise from what I had yesterday, but the rest of it was messing with refining the material that already existed. I got some good feedback from both my brother and Hannah, who I gave the 5-minute sample to listen to, and it's helped me feel better about what I've done already, and also Hannah in particular gave me a good direction for how the piece needs to close out, specifically with the beast sounds, to really convey the message that I'm trying to convey in the piece. There was also some interesting conversations I had with my brother, and then I also had with Hannah about the nature of anxiety from buzzing sounds. I have to think about that a little bit more and sleep on some of the concepts that we talked about, and if any of that needs to inform some of the stuff that I'm doing with the work. But I feel pretty good with where it's at and have some good direction for what I want to do tomorrow.